Hey there folks, Rel here. In the background you'll see some gameplay from PlanetSide 2, though this will be less of a thoughts on better gaming episode and be geared more toward the recent controversy, specifically in PlanetSide 2. So as many people are aware, PlanetSide 2 is a free-to-play game. Everything outside of cosmetics and experience boosts may be purchased using the in-game currency by just playing the game. Purchasing items in this game is done by way of microtransactions, but there is also a separate subscription element as well. Subscribing members get bonus experience, bonus resources, a monthly allotment of station cash, and starting more recently, discounts from the cash shop, as well as bonus experience weekends. Now with the most recent patch, as of releasing this video, some UI adjustments were implemented that basically advertise this in-game membership pretty much everywhere. It's not subtle, it's not elegant, it's obnoxious and in your face. And if you're currently a subscriber like myself, you're still getting harassed in a way, albeit to a lesser degree. There has been a lot of backlash because of this new feature, and I say the word feature, but I do so in the tune of irony and sarcasm. The player base is currently very vocal about their disgust. You see it on Reddit, you see it on forums, you see it in game. Many players have threatened to quit the game just because of it. I'm sure some people already have. And you've kind of got to ask yourself, from the perspective of a developer or a publisher, is it worth angering a large portion of your player base in order to gain new subscribers? And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. Yes, it is. And you may think to yourself, whoa, Rel, I don't like this. It's really tasteless. I'm never going to pay these guys a dime, ever. And I'm going to go on strike, actually. I'm going to go on strike and I'm going to quit the game until they remove these advertisements. And the last part of that run-on sentence is the one that you have to pay attention to. A few years ago, before doing the YouTube thing, I started up a web project and I had invested a lot of time and money to make it happen. But one of the questions that I needed to get an answer to was, how am I going to let people know I exist? I ended up outsourcing that job to India. I had a group of people gather up all the names and websites and email addresses of every single business that they could find that might have an interest in this specific project. And after about a week, I had a long list. So I loaded up all those email addresses into my MailChimp account and boom, I blasted out a message to every single one of those businesses, and MailChimp came back to me and said, hey, you're not supposed to do that. These businesses did not subscribe to your newsletter, so you cannot be soliciting them. And this has to do with ICANN laws and whatever else. But I apologize for the transgression and I deleted my contact list, but fortunately, the damage was already done. I had hundreds of emails already responding to my inquiry, asking about my project, and that was more than enough to start gaining some traction. Now you can call this a sort of forgiveness marketing. In PlanetSide 2, the main purpose of the in-game advertisements are to make non-paying players aware of the benefits of having a membership. And it's an extremely simple goal, and businesses need to make money, so showcasing something that you may have not been aware of is completely legitimate. That's a good goal, right? However, the severity and completely tactless ad placement is why people are upset. Even your most dedicated players, the ones who have spent thousands of hours being a part of the community, are being punished by having something they do not want constantly shoved down their throat. And it should remind you a lot of how Google Plus did things. Now the fun part of this discussion, just to kind of circle things back around, is that those dedicated players, the ones that not only threatened, but may have even quit the game until the ads are removed, they could get their wish. All that SOE has to do is go push through the weekend, up to the next weekend, maybe up to the weekend after that, and they can say to everyone after that point, they can just say, hey guys, we heard your feedback, we know that you do not like the current ad placement, we're talking to the marketing department right now, we're going to do our best to reel things back, thank you for your support, and then everything goes back to normal. Even if you did end up losing some players permanently, in the process, SOE has netted how many new subscriptions, they've raised how much awareness, and all of those dedicated players who said that they are going on hiatus, they said that they're going on strike until the ads go away, they'll just come back. They'll be gone for a vacation, then they'll come back. And then the forums and Reddit and the players in-game, they can all sit around the virtual campfire and tell stories about that time where they pushed back the tides of corporate tyranny by banding together and typing their little hearts out and posting this and that, and guess what? It's all an illusion. This isn't theoretical, this isn't tinfoil hat conspiracies, this is business. It's a really shady way to do business. PlanetSide 2 is currently the only FPS on the market that can boast hundreds of players versus hundreds of players, 3 factions duking it out, and basically boast an experience that you can't find anywhere else. PlanetSide 2 just does not have direct competition. Battlefield 4, Arma 3, COD, Destiny, Titanfall, they're all technically competing with some subsections of the demographics, but it's not direct. If Blizzard, however, was to roll in here and release Universe of StarCraft, I bet you anything that PlanetSide 2 would be a shell of its former self. It might even push the development cycle toward creating a better product, instead of trying to remarket to those players it currently has. Unfortunately, Universe of StarCraft, or the Titan project, does not exist yet, and having this sort of monopoly gives you the option to push those advertisements out now, do something that you know is wrong, you know is just nasty, something that people will get annoyed by. You can push that for as long as you can, and then you ask for forgiveness later, because we can't do anything to fight back except stop playing, or we can cancel our subscription and have to deal with the advertisements while we do play. Option A removes you from the PlanetSide 2 experience completely, which is unfortunate because the game is fun, we all enjoy it or have enjoyed it, or else you likely wouldn't be watching this video. Option B, however, gets you to hang around, and you suffer through the current state of the game until something better comes along. Now, just to be fair, this may not be how the advertising was really intended to be presented. Believe it or not, there are a lot of moving pieces in how SOE operates, and not everything is up to Higby. It could have very well been that the marketing or advertising department said, okay guys, change of plans, we need to promote this, this, and this from now on, and it needs to be done in time for the next sale, which is coming up, tomorrow. Then the UI design team could have just come up with the quickest possible solution that they could fathom, a quick but extremely painfully ugly and intrusive solution. But maybe they had or have every intention of making the process of generating that awareness much less obnoxious. Maybe they want to make it much more subtle than it is right now, but just didn't have the time to get it done yet. I try to be reasonable, I try to be understanding in these sorts of situations, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a bigger problem when all is said and done. I thought originally that I would cover all the ways that SOE could make this a better experience for everyone, while still entertaining the mentality that they do need to push the advertising, but quite frankly, SOE is not stupid. They are unwise and underhanded at times, sure, but they are not stupid. They know that they could throw in an opt-out button in the general settings for experienced players to just turn off the ads. They know that they could shrink the buttons down, or use buttons of 2 different types instead of just trying to clickjack our station cache when we want to either redeploy or when we want to buy a scope for our weapon. And they know that the pop-ups in the bottom corner of the screen should not come with a yes or a no function that makes us aware of the current sale. Heck, they shouldn't even be popping up at all. They should just come up through the daily messages as soon as we enter the game, or they can make the UI cash shop button just glow once a day until it's clicked on. What they might not know, however, is that by adding these profuse advertisements absolutely everywhere, they're fostering the mentality that the game requires you to pay for something in order to be successful. As a game that once prided itself on being free to play, prided itself on not requiring a single dime spent because, hey, most of what you can purchase are side grades anyway, they're largely playstyle decisions. Is this the sort of mentality that you're really trying to make a shift to? If you constantly hammer someone with expectations, look at how much better you could be doing, look at how much experience you could be getting, look at all these weapons you could be owning, buy, people are either going to conform to your expectations and give in, giving you the money that you want, or go against you deliberately. This is why we see women with self-esteem issues, because they constantly see that, oh, this is beauty. Don't you want to be beautiful? You had better get skinny, you had better buy our mascara. And it's also the same reason why you have a counterculture of women that say, no, that's not a real woman, that's what Photoshop looks like. The difference between real life and video games is that in real life, you have the power to speak up, you have the power to fight back. In video games, you only have the power to stop playing. Now, even if you are the type of person who doesn't really care that ads are in the game, you see it in many places, you're desensitized to it now, trust me when I say that this is an issue that will affect you in the long run. The more you push your monetary expectations on the user, the more of a schism you create in the community. You're going to get more people paying, sure, but you're going to get less people playing. And this will not be a quick process. And honestly, even the backlash on Reddit will likely subside within a couple weeks to a month. That's just the kind of society that we live in. We love to rally behind a cause when it's in flavor, but quickly get bored and forget. But that said, to recap absolutely everything, SOE basically has a monopoly on the current genre, and because of that, the only ways to really fight back are to either quit the game or suffer through advertisements until a better game comes along. By pushing intrusive ads on the consumer, you're betraying your loyal players, paying or otherwise, and you're fostering a culture that is expected to make purchases in order to be successful and enjoy themselves. That's the kind of culture that's going to create a schism within the game, and eventually, you'll have more paying players and less people playing overall, at least until the next big thing comes around. But that bitter taste in your mouth will linger so long as things remain the way they are currently. If this video has been interesting, helpful, or entertaining, please feel free to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the channel, and I'm of course very interested in hearing what you think about the current state of advertising in the game. Now make no mistake that companies need to make money, but there are much better ways to go about it. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Thanks very much folks, Rel signing off.
Generator stabilized.